Is Stephen A. slowly converting to conservative republicanism?
Let's get ready to rumble! You can't handle the truth.
Hi, I'm Pastor Marty. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, where you will hear my rants, my ravings, my undeniably flawless, and I mean that, flawless reasonings. Hey, please like and share this video. It's the only way that we get the word out that we're here. Thank you so much for watching and being a part of the Afternoon Drive. Stephen A. is in a little hot water with the Democrats because, he quote-unquote says nice things about Donald Trump. No, he's taken the Fetterman position, which is, I don't want the man to fail, because if he fails, America fails. And we want the president to succeed so that America/Americans succeed. And Stephen A. makes the case to Democrats, it's time to quit your whining and own up why you lost.
Are you ready to entertain why you lost? Are you ready to stop debating amongst yourselves back and forth? Did we go too far, whether or not we went far enough? Are you ready to concede that indeed you went too damn far with the identity politics, with woke culture, with cancel culture? Are you ready to concede that? Censorship and deplatforming folks, embracing far left, unpopular policy positions. Are you ready to admit that all of that was wrong? You would need to. Because right now you look like a party that's lost. And I know there's a bunch of liberals out there that are raising holy hell, looking at somebody like me and others saying we don't know what the hell we're talking about. You know what we do know? You lost. You know what we do know? You lost convincingly. You know what we do know? That you are now disempowered. You've been rendered practically impotent. So much so that in a time of progressiveness, where you got somebody like AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, competing with Nancy Pelosi, the 84-year-old Nancy Pelosi, who recently had hip surgery. When competing against her, she still beat AOC. Because somewhere along the way, somebody said, you know what? We don't need to move further left. We need to listen to the audience out there, the constituency out there that's saying, center, be a centrist, or at least left of center, don't go to the fringes. If you're the Democratic Party, are you willing to accept that? Are you willing to accept that inflation happened on your watch? On Trump's too, to some degree, but certainly yours. Are you willing to accept that the crime in the streets was uncomfortable to see, that the homelessness in the streets was uncomfortable to witness? Are you willing to concede that you can't be all things for everybody? That in any society, particularly a capitalistic one, that everyone doesn't get to enjoy the same fruits of one's labor? Are you willing to concede that, Democratic Party? Especially if you're somebody like Gavin Newsom in California. Because when you look at the high taxes, the price of food and gas, the money that comes out of your paycheck, the open borders, the homelessness, the crime in the streets where people getting out the same day they got arrested. When you see all of that, do you understand now how uncomfortable that is? Do you realize that people want to be safe and they want to earn an honest living? If you're the left, do you understand that that's what people want to hear in the year 2025? They don't want to hear about an insurrection from 2021. They don't want to hear about election denials. They don't want to hear about that. That's not what they care about anymore. It's not that they don't believe it didn't exist or anything like that. It's that it's the past. It's over.
See, Stephen A. is a sports guy, and so he approaches this like a coach breaking a team down and saying, look, you got to stop blaming the referees. You got to stop blaming lack of fan support. You got to stop blaming the fact that you don't like, the new color of the basketball. And you got to break it down that your game is what's off. Your defense is what's off. Your offense is what's off. It isn't the refs. It isn't the scoreboard. It isn't the fans. It isn't your lack of endorsement sponsorship deals. You're the problem. And that was exactly what Stephen A. was dealing with there. But recently, he made an apology to Roland Martin. Because Roland was basically trying to put Stephen in his place, saying, yo, sports is your lane, politics is my lane, stay out of my lane. And Stephen A. kind of acknowledged that, yes, Roland Martin is really an expert in politics. I got newsflash for you there, Stephen A. You are way off on that one. Roland Martin ain't nothing but a race pimp, and that's all he is. And he's not as gifted at it as Al Sharpton. That's just the bottom line. Roland Martin, when it comes to actual intellectual insight and understanding of what's going on in politics, is a complete buffoon, a bonehead, and I'll just put it out there. He's just a glorified minstrel show trying to do what Al Sharpton has done, which is grift money from not only his own people, but, going to come in, going to lean on corporations and businesses that, you're not black friendly enough. You're not inclusive enough. And I'm going to bring real problems for you and boycotts for you if you don't give me money, and that will magically make all that go away. I mean, that's Al Sharpton, and Roland Martin is cut from that same cloth. So Stephen A., you got nothing to apologize there for. But there are a couple things that you were way off on a little bit later in your insight when you were giving Donald Trump some tips, telling him stay away from Project 2025. Stephen A., he's made it abundantly clear he's never been for Project 2025 on any level, that he doesn't support it, that comes from the Heritage Foundation. Donald Trump has disavowed it from the time it came out, but you might want to take a look back in history and realize that there was something that the Heritage Foundation came out with a few years ago that Barack Obama was all on board with. So, just because you've heard Democrats and people like Roland Martin say that Donald Trump is on board with Project 2025. No, Donald Trump has been on record numerous times disavowing and distancing himself from Project 2025. Now, you also talked about some of his appointments. What is Pete Hegseth, a weekend host from Fox News? What? He can't be defense secretary. Why? Who's defense secretary right now? Have you looked at the people that Joe Biden put in place as cabinet members? The dude that wore the dress that was non-binary, that was ripping off luggage at the airport, and they had to let him go. Pete Buttigieg, whose only expertise in transportation is the fact that he's flown on an airplane. Can we say that transportation has been a nightmare, especially the airlines under Pete Buttigieg? And then what about the dude that thinks he's a woman that wears the Admiral uniform and is about 150 pounds overweight is our Assistant Secretary of Health? Pete Hegseth actually been to Harvard, been to Princeton as well, I believe, and served in the military, and he's all about the military. He's earned his living in media. Well, so does the new president. Real estate and media. Stephen A., know the game plan a little bit more before you comment on it. But we welcome you to our side. You're going to make a great Republican.